Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Lagged Out Podcast, episode 62. We are on a roll. Call us butter. We have done a consecutive, how many? At least 7 episodes, I think, or so. But this episode is about should games be hard and what does that entail? And we'll get into that. And some of you might be like, well, of course. But some people don't think so. But what's up, Joe? How are you?
Hello, Sir Adam of the Elden Ring.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at
Spoilers, games should be challenging. Okay. Podcast over. Cool. Let's go play games.
All right. Thank you, Excalibur Prime, for following. No, I'm just kidding. I just had to say that because someone followed. That's funny.
Oh, nice.
What's up, though? How you been?
It's Wednesday. It's the best day of the week, so can't complain, I guess.
Is that because it's hump day or why?
Well, okay, so this all dates back to college. Basically,
wait, I already know. Philly cheesesteak Wednesday.
It's no Philly, just cheesesteak.
Oh, cheesesteak. Oh, wait, it wasn't a Philly?
Well, no, because it was in North Carolina.
Oh, I see. You're just calling. Okay, I see.
Yeah. We went to the same college, and that was not in Pennsylvania.
I know, but I never really took advantage of that day. But that's kind of sad.
Okay, but that day was nothing like crazy happened on that day necessarily. It was just like that was consistently like the best day of the week because every day at noon I would go get my cheesesteak at the one place on campus, and then the Naruto manga that was back then still going on would release its chapter I think it was every Tuesday, but I would read it on Wednesday. So I would read that while I ate one of the best cheesesteaks I've ever had in the world. And then the old ladies who worked behind the counter, they recognize me. So they'd be like, "Oh, hey."
I feel like they recognize everyone now. They were cool. Well, that's good, man. I wish I had a Philly cheesesteak. I did have a taco bowl for dinner, though, which is cool. But
nice. Mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti, you said?
Yep.
Nice.
Mom spaghetti.
Nice. Well, speaking of mom spaghetti, this is a perfect segue into Elden Ring. But we're talking about games being hard because this has been an increasingly interesting topic, honestly, that I've been kind of involved with. I'm not directly involved, but there's a lot of
Adam's nerfing all of your games.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a lot of thoughts out there that people, they want accessibility with games, and this is like a new thing, or it's kind of a newer thing, but most of the time when they're talking about accessibility, I think people are, people that are like a lot of times it's people that are disabled and they want to be able to play a game, with if it's got certain support for the game. I know ESO, there's a lot of ways that it is very accessible to people like that. A lot of times that's kind of the conversation. We're not really talking about that per se. We're just mainly talking about content that is difficult, because I've seen a lot of complaints with Elden Ring, or people that got Elden Ring, and these are not people again that are in the disabled, or handicapped or anything like that. This is people that pre-ordered the game, got the game, and they're just complaining about it being too hard. And we'll get into another game after this, Lost Ark, that is also something that happened in that. But for me, I personally think that, and we'll talk about mechanics later, but personally, I think this is people's own faults. Again, when I started playing Elden Ring, I expected something a little different because I thought it was supposed to be a lot different than Dark Souls. It actually is when you actually get into the game, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I don't play it off stream because it stresses me out, but when I play it on stream, it's funny. People like watching, and Elden Ring has so much more exploration that doesn't make you feel like you have to go down the same path, very linear. And that's why Dark Souls was so frustrating, because it was I can't do anything unless I go. Yeah, I can't do anything. Yeah. I literally just have to go this way. Elden Ring is not like that, which makes the game a lot better in my opinion. But some people, they think that it was supposed to be easy, and it's bro, This is Dark Souls.
This is basically open world Dark Souls, right?
Yeah, and so I don't know why people I don't think people should have I don't think they should not have a right, but it's like people shouldn't be complaining about this. Like it's not, it's their fault, I guess, if that makes sense. But
no, yeah, like people who know like that this is a From Software game, and they're the people who make Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro, and they're the one. And if they complain like, "Oh my god, it's too hard," like you need to nerf it. It's like, no, you just need to get good. Because you should know exactly what this game is going to be.
Right.
The past like 5 games that they've made have all been like this level of difficulty. So like you're just the one who needs to get good.
I know that's always usually the response from people who are like, no, you don't have to get good. You just have to like, you honestly just have to keep playing. Like, but yeah, it's essentially getting better. But get good always like triggers people. I feel like they're like, I am good, you know?
But like that's really the only advice you can give them though. Like not even like as a meme.
No, I know.
Seriously,
I know what you're saying.
You just have to get better at the game.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. Because like the thing is like you really can beat the stuff in the game, but you have to spend a lot of time doing it. And that's kind of why people, I think, they think that they can steamroll, which is what I thought at first too. And I switched up my class, and I still have to like do different things. It's not like an MMO. Like you're getting a lot of people from this. It's hit a lot of mainstream because it's just pulling in a lot of people now. It's not like the typical Dark Souls crowd. And you have people that play MMOs. You have people that like are playing open world Ubisoft games where they can just hack and slash. And it's like, dude, you can't do that.
Ezio here.
Exactly. And then there was all this other drama with like a bunch of devs, I think, like from Ubisoft, like crapping on Elden Ring's like UI design, and it's like, bro, what? Like, I don't know. Someone was talking about like microtransactions. Like if it was Ubisoft, they'd make you pay for certain things, but that's another thing. But yeah, I mean,
you want to fight this boss? $4.
It's $4. You have to pay to get this skin. Yeah, I just don't understand why people gripe in that. But this kind of, I don't know if you have anything else to say more about that, but I was going to move on to the next game. But after that,
like you know, talking about like should games be hard or games be challenging? Dark Souls, like, and like, you know, the whole like sort of like Bloodborne, Dark Souls genre, like that whole like thing, Elden Ring, Sekiro, that's all like its own genre of video game now. Like it's not like it's like it's like an RPG. Like no, they're literally called like Dark Souls games.
Right.
Like people, you know, when they said what's it called? Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order came out like 2 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that. People were like, oh, it's like Sekiro or like Dark Souls, but Star Wars. And it kind of was. It wasn't as hard as Sekiro, but like it was still relatively difficult, and like some of the mechanics were similar. With like you have health, or you can break someone's like posture to like, you know, stun them and then do a bunch of damage, which is a lot like Sekiro. So it's like that's sort of like a genre now, part of like that Dark Souls genre.
Right.
So like being like, oh my god, this genre is too hard. And it's like, well, you just need to get better at the genre, or just stop complaining and don't play the game. Actually, just stop complaining in general. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, so yeah, that's like, a good point.
There's literally no excuse to be like, I can't believe this is this hard. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know.
Like, there's no excuse. You know exactly what this is.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree, and yeah, I don't understand why people like think that they, you know, why it shouldn't be like that. I just don't get it. But you know, moving on to the next thing, this is something that happened a week ago-ish. Lost Ark received some nerfs on some tier 2 and tier 1 content in the end game, and this was kind of eye-opening, because for me, I was like, man, I didn't feel like, okay, like there was some bosses that they nerfed apparently, and some of the mechanics in the bosses, I was watching some commentaries on it, some of the mechanics were they needed better tells, like they needed like a better notification, like, hey, this is happening, or like X, Y, or Z. But besides that, the boss was beatable. It wasn't something that like I was like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, I mean that's how I felt, at least. But to me, it's interesting because apparently there was a statistic. They have this data like tracker thing that said I think it's somewhere around only 10% of people that's played Lost Ark, I think, only 10% of people, I think, either playing Lost Ark either got to tier 2 right now, or only 10% of people have only beaten, I think it was Veritas or Virtus. If that's I think that's the what's it called? The Guardian Raid guy. I think that was the guy they nerfed. And I was like, holy crap, 90% of players, like, obviously they're taking into account other, I think, levels, but I'm pretty sure they were taking in like in-game players. I'm like, man, this boss was not that hard, but it made me really realize, like, there's a lot of people playing Lost Ark, and there must be a lot of people that are playing Lost Ark that literally either suck at the game or they just don't take the time to do mechanics. Like, and to me, it's kind of frustrating because I don't think that Lost Ark needed nerfs. I mean, I want people to be able to progress, and I think that's the reason they wanted to do that. But there's people still wiping, like, in those things, and it's like, bro, like, I don't know. What do you think about that? Like, what is your opinion? We'll talk about mechanics here in a second, but what do you think about, like, that stat, I guess? Because for me, that's just mind blowing. Like, I don't think that boss is that hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to see, like, because, like, Steam has, like, you know, the achievements, and it's like, oh, like 17% of players have achieved this or whatever.
Yeah.
But I can't find it, basically. I'm pretty sure there is one, but it looks like it also only shows if it's like, well, I guess if you hover over, maybe. Anyways, so with regards to, like, the Guardian Raid bosses, that, like, honestly, to me was, like, unnecessary, because I didn't really have much trouble, you know, seeing when he was going to do a move. Like, the biggest one I know you complained about was his tail swipe. And for anyone who doesn't know, this one boss was like this ice dragon type thing. It was really cool. He would do this tail swipe, and it was a very brief, like, wind up. He'd be like, you know,
right.
So, like, and when he hits you with it, not only does he damage you, but he stuns you. And then typically what he would do after that is turn around and try to grab you and then do his, like, big finishing move on you. I am glad they nerfed that move, but also I don't have any reference for, like, how much they nerfed it, because I'm so over leveled for that fight now.
Right.
But initially, when we were basically at that level for the boss, that finishing move was literally a one shot, even from full health. So you would need, like, shields on shields to, like, survive, basically.
Right.
So they nerfed that. They nerfed the tail swipe so it doesn't stun you anymore. I don't know if they nerfed the damage or not, and I don't remember what all else they nerfed. But for me personally, I didn't have a problem with the boss as he was, because I could tell all of his moves and stuff, and you know, being like an assassin type class, I have more mobility, so it's easier for me to dodge and stuff. So that's just me, I guess. Like, I guess someone with, like, as like a berserker who has, like, one dash.
It was harder with It definitely was harder with melee. I mean, that is true, and I think that's kind of why, for me, I think it just was. So yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think another part of it too is just positioning. So, like, for me, whenever I'm fighting, like, a boss or, like, a raid monster or whatever, I'm always trying to get to the back for, like, that back attack bonus damage.
Right.
And a lot of bosses, you know, do, like, frontal attacks, like, like ice breath or, like, slashing claw or whatever.
Right.
So, like, I really only had to worry about the tail swipe, or, like, his big, like, 2-time, like, I'm going to spin around like a Beyblade attack. But, like, so, like, in that, like, with that in mind, I didn't really have a problem with the boss and didn't really see a need for the nerf, even though, like, the tail swipe did suck. Like, you thought you dodged it, but, like, nope, JK.
Right.
But I mean, like, it was fine otherwise. And, like, you know, even pre-nerf, we had gotten that boss down to, like, 9% health or something like that before, like, everyone died and we ran out of time, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like, if people just hadn't died earlier, like, we would have done that 9%, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think they needed to nerf anything. I do get they want people to, like, progress more, but, like, at the same time, if that statistic is true and only 10% of players have actually gotten that far in the game, or at least done that boss, then I can see, like, justifying the nerfs. But I personally, as, like, a god gamer here, I don't really see the actual, like, need for it.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I am a god gamer. One thing I do want to ask you about, and like we can, if you still want to talk about Lost Ark, we can. But this is like future post Lost Ark, I guess. Why do you think like some games that like go on for a while, like Pokemon, for example, like they tend to get easier and easier over time?
Yeah.
And Pokemon is definitely the biggest offender of that. Do you like that? Do you hate that? Are you indifferent? What's your take?
I personally, so first of all, sometimes it might get easier because we're just better at the game later on, because that kind of happens with Call of Duty in some cases, but a lot of it is the game is just like objectively easier. I don't really like it because, and that's kind of goes into other things we're going to talk about too, but like I don't really like it because it takes away the value of like actually doing something or like beating something, or like I don't know. It's just like there's a difference. This is like, okay, this is a good example for me. So what I don't like in games, and this is why I don't like Dark Souls, is because when a game is hard, and this actually ties into Lost Ark too, but when a game is hard and you have the learning mechanic of like getting better at whatever said thing in the game is hard. So like say in Dark Souls, you go to try to kill a boss. You can't kill the boss, right? And so what you have to do is you have to teleport back. I don't know how it is in some of the newer ones, but I do know in some of them you have to go through a lot of the mobs again because it's just how it's set up, right? You don't get to start at the beginning of the gate, okay? In Elden Ring, it's not like that a lot. Like, but the difference there is like you're making it even longer for me to even get to the point until I can get one shot by the boss again and learn his mechanics. You make me start all the way back again, and then you make me go through that again with the ads, and that is annoying. That is, in my opinion, I hate that. I because it doesn't give you it makes it frustrating to even get to the point of even learning again. And the thing with Guardian raids that is like that in some ways is that if someone does die on your team, if someone on your team sucks and they just get they get like one tapped like 3 times and there's no lives left and you die, or say you have to go back to camp, you have to run all the way to the boss. You have to, if you're sitting there dead and you can't respawn, you got to wait 10 minutes until the fight's actually over. It takes you way longer time investment to actually get back in the raid and try it again and learn the mechanics. That's when it's really annoying when something's hard. But if they make something where it's like Elden Ring, where there's literally a portal right next to the boss, you go in, you get one tapped, you're like, okay, you spawn in, you're like, okay, let me try it again. And you do it over and over and you try 30 times in 20 minutes, then it's not as bad because like you actually get to practice and you don't have to go through all this BS. But when games get easier over time, I just don't like it because I don't mind there being hard mechanics, and it just devalues everything that you do. So that's just my opinion.
Interesting.
What about you? That was a rant.
So I didn't know that Elden Ring had that.
Basically,
cool,
they basically do. It's not as in the fights I've done. It's not as like punishing. You can like be right where the boss is at for the most part.
Right. So like, with regards to that, like the whole Dark Souls, like, oh, I have to go through all the mobs again to get to the boss. Oh, I just got hit. Got to use a potion. Now I'm one less potion for the boss. Like,
that also resets, by the way.
I understand that frustration, but also at the same time, it's just like if you're going through the mobs over and over again, eventually you'll also just learn how to beat the mobs really easily.
True.
So it's like it kind of goes both ways, and it's sort of like the same thing where it's just like get good with like the boss mechanics and stuff. I remember like in Sekiro, like, you know, you would fight the boss, you die, you have to climb up the castle again or whatever. I never really had an issue with that so much. and like even when like I did get hit or something by like an enemy on like the way up, I mean, it wasn't like that like detrimental, I guess. I mean, Sekiro is also a completely different type of game from Dark Souls, despite them being like sort of in the same genre, sort of, in terms of like difficulty anyways. But like the, like getting hit wasn't like, oh man, now I have to like waste a potion and like heal up. And it's just like you could, but it wasn't, let's see, what am I trying to say? It's like, it wasn't as difficult to get through the mobs, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Sekiro I think is a little easier in the Dark Souls if I remember right.
Probably. I mean, like it's definitely, so like I will say, if you've played Dark Souls and you try, or even Bloodborne, and you try to go into Sekiro expecting the same like combat, you're gonna die so much, because the combat's very different, and they put a big emphasis on blocking and parrying, mostly parrying, instead of dodge rolling. You like barely even have a dodge roll. It's more like a dodge, like lean.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that's literally just like getting the timing down on like the boss attacks, so you can parry and then build up their posture meter, break their posture, deal like a lethal blow. But yeah, like the small enemies like weren't like, they were annoying, and some of them definitely could like one shot you. But in terms of like, you know, having to like climb through like the castle to get through a bunch of mobs to get to the boss, it wasn't like too bad, because a lot of them you could also just like run past most of the time. And I feel like Dark Souls is kind of like that too, for the most part. And for some bosses you probably can't, but for the most part I know you pretty much could.
Right.
And then Lost Ark, like, yeah, the whole like, oh, you have 3 lives, the same dude on your team dies 3 times in like 2 minutes, and then you die just because like you got stunned or something, and then you got one shot by the boss's like finishing move, and now you're out of the game for like the remaining like 10 minutes of the raid or whatever, which has happened to me multiple times, where I don't die at all, and then we're out of lives, and then I die, and now I can't respawn. It's like, what the heck, man? I'm the carry. I'm the god gamer.
Oh my gosh.
But like, again, that's just like, people just need to get good. Like, if you're dying a lot, like if you die 2 times within like 2 minutes to this one boss in this one fight, maybe just like back up a bit, look at his attacks, you know, force that widescreen, that 21:9 aspect ratio, right? So you can stand even further back and still see the boss. Just learn their moves and stuff, and see what other people do to like dodge them. Like, oh, he does this one, he dodges out of the way when the boss like moves his left foot forward or something. Okay, oh, he just did a tail swipe. That must be the tail or something,
right,
for his tail swipe. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really struggled. The only time I struggle is like when, you know, it's like the bosses were like, I'm like the same level as it, basically, where like, you know, it's like a 500, like a 520 gear level boss for Guardian Raid, and I'm only like 521, and it's like, okay, it's going to do like half my health with one hit.
Right.
But like, it's 4v1, so, you know, like, right, it's not solo content. Like, they're not expecting you to do this solo, and you probably can't do it solo unless you're like 5 times the freaking gear score level. So like, just like hang back a bit. You got 3 other people. Maybe you have a bard or like a paladin or something who can shield or heal you. And, you know, just hang back, heal up a bit with your potions. If you need to, go back to camp and then come refill on your potions and then go back to the fight. That's way better than dying and losing a life.
Right.
And that's something that, you know, I do in PvP, because in the guild co-op battles, you can actually go back to your base and heal when you're low health, rather than just staying in like a small arena where you can't heal.
Right.
So like, I'll do that, and like, you know, just do that in Guardian Raid. So like, I'm basically like, if it's challenging, like I'll face it head on. Don't nerf it, please. And then as for like games getting easier over time, like Pokemon, like I understand why they do it, because it's like they want to make it more accessible to everyone, not just like, you know, kids or like people who grew up watching the show in like the 90s or whatever. they want it to be accessible to everyone of all ages, of all like types or whatever, 1 foot, 3 foot, doesn't matter. Right. Or 3 feet, I guess. 2 hands, 4 hands, no hands, like doesn't matter. They want everyone to play their games. So I understand why they make it easier. I just wish personally they would give us the choice. Like, do you want to play on hard mode or normal mode or whatever? Because like that doesn't seem like a difficult thing to do. All you would really have to do is, first of all, I think just turn off freaking XP share, or give us the ability to turn off XP share. Secondly, hard mode, like doing a hard mode versus like a normal mode would just be like, you just make all the trainers like a few levels higher. So it's like, instead of a level 13 Growlithe, it's now level 15 Growlithe or 16.
Right.
And it's like, it's only like 2 or 3 levels, but like, that's a lot in Pokemon, especially like early on.
Right.
If you're just going through the game, not grinding, So yeah, and I haven't really played COD enough to know, like recently, especially, so to know like if it's gotten easier or not. But yeah, they just need to like people just need to stop complaining about challenging games being challenging when they know that they're going to be challenging.
Right.
And then people just need to get good, basically, is the moral of this podcast episode, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, so our last 2 questions kind of like, they kind of go hand in hand. It's like why hard mechanics are good for games, and then like the problem with making everything easy. And like I can kind of consolidate that, but like, we kind of been talking about it, but the reason answer. Like hard mechanics are good is it makes the game satisfying when you beat something. Mm-hmm. And it's also, it doesn't make it where everything, like when something's at end game, like the Guardian raids again shouldn't, I mean, they're I guess they're skill checks, but really people should be able to get past them. They're really not that bad. But hard mechanics for in-game content, like I just did a dungeon on stream for Lost Ark, and that was a sick dungeon. It was actually kind of difficult. I actually had mechanics, but like mechanics are good for games, I think, because if you earn rewards from them, then like it brings them value. And then like the problem with making everything easy is essentially the same thing, is then it just doesn't have any value. People don't have any reason to play because they've done everything so easily. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like Lost Ark has a good balance of that. Elden Ring, I mean, I just think it's its whole other game, but yeah, that's just my opinion on it. But
yeah, they both have the same answer of satisfaction, basically.
Right.
It's like once, you might die 100 times to like, Dark Souls or Elden Ring boss or whatever, right? But once you beat it that 101st attempt, it's gonna feel so freaking good.
Right.
And like that's not just in Dark Souls or like, Sekiro or whatever. That's literally any game where it's like you're fighting like 50 million times like on one boss, basically.
Right.
Just to like beat it or whatever. And then if you make it too easy, it's like look at Minesweeper. Minesweeper is a really easy game, but no one talks about it because it's so freaking easy.
It's kind of tough for me, but
it's just counting. That's all it is. Because it's like, there's a 1 here. Okay, that means there's one of these boxes touching the 1 has a mine on it. And all these spaces are already cleared. That must mean this is the box. So it's just, I can count like spaces after that, and just those should be fine.
Dude, cookie clicker, bro.
Yeah, dude, that's a tough game, bro.
Gosh,
trying to get those golden cookies when they spawn.
Oh my gosh,
just kidding. But yeah, just freaking like give me hard mechanics. Like one of the best things about Monster Hunter is the later game monsters, the ones that are actually difficult. Like Nergigante in Monster Hunter World, for example, or even freaking Xeno'jiiva. Like that one's tough. I know like we probably wiped once or twice, maybe even 3 times before we finally beat Xeno'jiiva the first time. And that was with 3 of us fighting it too. So really, once we did, it felt so good. And like from personal experience, Sekiro is always good. But also like, I know like the final boss in Sekiro took me like at least 12 attempts. Which probably sounds really low for Sekiro. It might have been like 20, but for Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC, they added super bosses. They added 14 super bosses. And
I think I remember you streaming that.
Yeah, the last one. So my total deaths for all 14 super bosses was like almost 300. The final boss, the 14th one, the secret boss, 70 deaths just for him before I beat him. It was like 70 or 76 or something like that. It was in the 70s because I had a counter. That like, but it felt so good to beat him. And like even like just like getting close or like making progress, you know, because like literally I'm pretty sure like, and even in like Kingdom Hearts 2, there's a secret boss in the final mix version, which is like the definitive version or whatever. It took me like at least 10 attempts just to land a hit on him the first time I like fought him. Just because like his opening moves are just insane. And it's like, you're just going to get one shot basically. So yeah, I'm all for like challenging bosses and mechanics and stuff like that. And if you want to make a game easier, that's fine. Just, you know, also give me the option to.
Right.
But I mean, I'm not a game dev or whatever. So
no, that's good points though. That's good points. No, it's good points. And I mean, I think the bottom line is that if you make everything easy, then it just doesn't bring value to the game.
Yeah.
And I know that the reason why these devs are doing this is because, or, you know, publishers, whoever's in control of that, is because they want more people to play their game because it's going to make more money. But it's like, if you make a game that is actually good and that people will get, it's not punishing. People will literally be satisfied and they'll come back. I mean, From Software makes games. They don't have like microtransactions, like, and they make good games and people love them. And now they just made like the biggest game, probably one of the biggest games ever released. Yeah. So it's like, it's ridiculous. But yeah, let us know what you guys think down in the comments of this. We did get a comment from the last video. Someone said they love the starters. That's all they said. And so someone I've never seen before. So I said, which is your favorite? But yeah, let us know down in the comments what you think about this topic, because I don't know, I feel like it's a pretty hot topic right now. And
I do also want to add really quickly, I'm not against easy games. Like a game can be easy as long as there's something else to get out of playing it.
Right.
Like Pokemon, you know, you get to explore new regions, catch new Pokemon. You can shiny hunt, or you can do battles against other people. You can just play the story, which that's also been going down in quality as the game's been getting easier. But that's a different topic for another day. You know, but like there's a lot of things you can do. You can like breed. You can do like, you know, Pokemon contests or whatever they have now, right? You can just try to fill up your decks. You can just like, there's like a lot you can do. Whereas a game like Minesweeper, which is easy, it's like, what are you getting out of it? Like especially like once you know how to play it, like, it's just like, wow, I stopped this imaginary minefield of boxes. Like, whoop-de-doo. Like, there's nothing to like gain from it. Whereas like with Pokemon, you know, you could do like a Nuzlocke, or like, you know, you could do, you know, like I said, you could do shiny hunts, or like shiny only, where it's like you have to start with a shiny Pokemon or something like that. Like, there's a lot you can do within, you know, the confines of the game, despite the game itself being relatively easy if you played it as is. Whereas other like games that are like easy don't really have anything to like reward you with.
Right.
So that's like the difference there. It's like, I'm okay with easy games. Just give me something that's still like rewarding or satisfying to play through the game.
Right.
I'll say like a really good example of an easy game that was bad was Call of Cthulhu. It was literally 8 hours. I spent, it was literally the worst, like however much money I spent on it, 40 to 60 bucks, something like that. Beat it in 8 hours. And they have achievements on Steam where it's like, oh, we'll go back and play it through and get this ending, or get this ending, or get this ending. I literally just saved right before the final like boss or cutscene or whatever, and then just chose a different option each time, because literally nothing else you did in the game really changed the outcome, basically. So like it wasn't rewarding. So that's like an easy, and like it's easy too. Like it wasn't that hard. Like I would maybe get stuck for like 2 or 3 attempts on like one like like stealth section or something, and but like that was it. And it's like, oh wow, 2-3 attempts, that's nothing. But yeah, easy games are fine as long as they're rewarding, but I prefer games to be more challenging if possible.
Right. No,
that's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, no, I agree. And yeah, I like playing Cookie Clicker, so that's an easy game. No, I'm just kidding.
Until the Grandmageddon.
Grandmageddon, yeah. But yeah, y'all, let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure to follow us on all our social links down in the description. And again, we're on Spotify and iTunes as well. We get a lot more downloads on actually Spotify and iTunes, I think. But yeah, we appreciate everyone coming out tonight. And let us know.
Leave us your thoughts on challenging games. Do you like them, hate them? Should they be challenging? Should they be easier? Like, well, basically what we talked about. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, let us know. And
I'd actually be really interested to see what everyone has to say.
Yeah, and let us know what games you hate right now because of that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, everyone, we will see you guys later next week and for episode 63, but we'll see you guys later. Peace.